The very soul of Fire Emblem Heroes is at stake, and it's all gonna come down to the first round of the upcoming A Hero Rises voting gauntlet. That's right, it's that time again, and I'm here to tell you why it is so critically important that a tuned Peony does what the Miami Heat did last year to the Milwaukee Bucks and overtake the unstoppable #1 seed, Winter Edelgard, to save Fire Emblem Heroes from itself. Hey, 11 said he's still on vacation, but my name is Cosmo Kramer. Welcome to Anywhere But the Etherkeep, and let's talk about AHR. We're doing things a little bit differently today, so let me know if you like this kind of content. I want to start branching out more. Okay, now, I think it is really important for Peony to defeat Edelgard in this voting gauntlet, and not necessarily for the reason you might think. It is not because I think, oh, everyone needs X skills, oh, everyone can use this unit so well. No, I want to try to go one level deeper than that. So let's think about past winners of A Hero Rises. We had the Legendary Ike. We had the Forgotten Gas Leak year where there was Find and Vote Heroes. I got Azura because I'm the chosen one. I'm so sorry that you got Lyn. Then we had Altina. And after this point, I think that the game started to change more into what it is today. Because the following winner was Linja, then Corinja, and finally last year we had Femortis. Now I think these three are all really important because they were meta-defining in a way that the earlier winners weren't. And by that I mean, like, Legendary Ike was a pretty good unit in his time. He was usable, but he was never like, I'm going to uninstall the game because Legendary Ike is so hard to beat, right? And the same thing with Altina. Like, honestly, her greatest relevance came years later when she was really good after her Refine and Summoner duels, but she was not really an oppressive unit in the time of that Hero Rises. In fact, honestly, it was much more common to see people being overconfident in her and her getting shredded in Ether Raids because she does not have bonus stats and she is a mythic. But with the latter three, especially Linja, we really saw the meta shift overnight. Like, Ether Raid's defense was forever changed when Linja won that. I mean, when Linja was released, but especially when Linja won that, because it went from being, you have to account for this unit because she can only show up, to, this is the only thing you have to beat. If any unit on your team can be taken down by Lyn, you will never win again in Ether Raids. And I think a big part of that, and again, Corin sort of led to the same thing, I think part of that is a big part of why save skills were introduced to the game, sort of a hot fix for the Lyn problem. And as you recall, for the first couple years they were in the game, save skills were oppressive. There was no reason to run any strategy other than double save tanking, because you just, 9 times out of 10, you could completely embarrass any set of nukes coming at you, because it was just, the power level of the nukes had not really caught up to the power level you could achieve by just stacking a ridiculous number of stats onto these armors. And then, I think Femortis is actually maybe even a better example of this, because what has been the defining factor of the last year of Fire Emblem Heroes? I think many people would say that it's death of enemy phase, nukes becoming stronger and stronger, damage reduction getting shredded, negated, turned to 0, turned to 10, just not a reliable form of tanking anymore. And I really do think that is because everyone had Femortis, which means that in any game mode you can run into him, there has to be a way to deal with Femortis, because Femortis is, at least upon release, Femortis was a uniquely oppressive unit who ended turns when he wasn't wiped out in one combat. Like, he could end all of your other actions if he was not wiped out in a single combat. And when he has, like, 80% DR, like, takes less than 1 hit worth of damage over 2 hits, just nukes that could slice through that like butter in one combat became necessary. And this is why I really do not want to live in a timeline where Edelgard wins this A Hero Rises. Because already, I mean, I have asked in so many videos, like, how are people dealing with Winter Edelgard in their ARD? How are people's Aether Raids defense teams dealing with Winter Edelgard? And the answer I've gotten is like highly invested, near save, Brave Edelgard, and that is the answer that I've gotten. Maybe you can count on one finger how many good options there are. I think probably they all fit on one hand, like the really consistent, because she can run Gale Force, she can run Armored Blaze, there's different ways you can support her, different ways you can follow up, different ways you can get into Wings of Mercy range and stuff. Like, if she gets in, she can basically do whatever she wants. And I'm not so much worried about people getting to use that, because it's already in the game. We're already having to find ways to either brick wall her or creatively stop her. But if that becomes the way that every single person is playing the game, Intelligent Systems is going to do their classic little trick and release things that just absolutely put her in a coffin and fill it with concrete. Which, you know, I mean, difficult to deal with. Pushing her out of the meta is, again, not the worst thing, but what it would take to stop Winter Edelgard, I do not know what it could look like that would not completely halt all other player phase strategies, at least at one range. And when we're already talking about the power level nukes have reached, where, like, tanking is so difficult, so unreliable, so specific to, like, which particular units, the arrangement, who you can slow down and stop, I really do think that Edelgard winning would create, at least for a few months, a deliriously unhealthy metagame that I don't want to play in. I want to have either, you know, like, I feel like at least one phase should be viable, and I feel like the fixes to Edelgard winning maybe would not give us that timeline. The overcorrection it would take to slow down Edelgard literally setting the entire game on fire. She does do that with her weapon. It just, imagine, like, think about what kind of effects it would take to stop Edelgard that would not stop more traditional Gale Force units, like Valoria, Brave Crom, Brave Salif, even like Mythic Asker. I don't know what it would look like for those units like that to stay viable while slowing Adel's Empress ship. And I think that when the metagame becomes so restrictive, the game becomes a lot less fun, and there's a lot less enjoyment and reason to play. And that's why I would really rather just see Peony win and negate that timeline entirely, because I think that of all the units on the banner, Peony is, in fact, the opposite of that, right? Peony is not a unit that requires a hard counter, hotfix, or anything like that. Peony is a unit that you can pretty much fit into anything you already like doing, and she helps. If you like enemy phasing, she can drive an insane number of stats, like easily 13 speed or more, and heals after combat, which is like one of the most desirable effects you can get for any phase. Or if you want a player phase, she drops warping through her dance, which makes it so much easier to move around a position. She gives Canto, which makes it so much easier to like position a Gale Force clear to box in a unit or get out of the way for another unit to come in, something like that. She can run the guidance skills to get even more warping and mobility, and she does still offer more stats, and she's even melee, so she can run Gale Force herself if you have a way to set it up. Like, this is a tremendously flexible unit who does so many things so nicely, but none of them are oppressive, none of them are game-breaking, none of them are even particularly unique, except that she can also pass on her unique X-Slot skill, which is really cool. And personally, I would love to see her get at least get on the banner. I don't care if she wins. I don't think everyone needs her. I think that everyone getting her is like nice, usable, does something for all people, provides valuable fodder, lets you duplicate valuable fodder. Not a negative. I think that Peony is a unit who provides literally no negative. And there are many other good choices here. I mean, I'll say, like, Dimitri winning, great unit to use or great fodder. You can't go wrong with that. Like, more desirable in both of those cases than Peony, I would say. So there's that. I do think that he could have ripple effects of making Vantage less viable down the road, which is, I think, sort of an important niche right now to kind of make these untankable units, like, have some counterplay in the enemy phase is kind of cool. Claude, I think there are just too many units that do the same, fill a similar role that doesn't really shift the meta. Gulvig, I think, again, just, there are units that nuke harder, so I don't think that they would need to, like, really hotfix her, especially since she can't really be used on Ether Raid's offense, and I don't think he's amazing in Summoner Duels, but I'm no expert. And then Alir the Omni Tank, he's another unit that I think is fine, balanced, wouldn't warp the meta, but just out of all of them, Edelgard would really create problems. Sanaki could also be pretty bad, but it's just, I mean, I think that the major meta shift that she would create would be like maybe some stronger tanks, which wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the world since so many of them are like paper right now, but more importantly I think it would be about mitigating debuffs on the field or finding other ways, like adding more like true DR, other forms of DR that aren't neutralized by her in the same way, which these are both things that I actually think could expand the game space instead of constrict it, so I'm not against that. Anyway, I'm meandering a little bit. This is only very loosely scripted, but my conclusion is that I fully support the Green Dream. I think a banner of Peony, Dimitri, Camilla, and Alir would be great. If Sonic gets in over Alir, that's fine. I didn't touch on Camilla before, but I think that enough damage has already been done against damage reduction that giving her to everybody doesn't really shift the needle. It just kind of lets everyone play the game on the same level, which is not a bad thing. And much like Sanaki would maybe lead the game in a direction towards giving us more neutralization and counterplay toward debuffs, which would be kind of a good thing. And I truly think that any of those units would be great winners, and I would love to get merges and copies and fodder via all of them on the banner. So that's basically my thesis. I have no shade or malice toward anyone who likes Edelgard. I still haven't played Crimson Flower because I'm cringe. It's not personal, it is just that you Edelgard fans, you won. You got the most brilliantly powerful, disgusting, overpowered unit in the game. And I would like to not let her just brutalize the entire meta overnight, which you just know would happen if she were to win the title and be distributed to everyone's mailbox. It would be difficult. That's my stance. Maybe I'm being a fatalist. Maybe I'm sowing the seeds of fear in people who don't need to hear it. I don't know, but this is my stance. I just wanted to make a quick video talking about it. Let me know what you thought down below, if this format worked or if I need more of a script. I just didn't have time to put this together before I left. I'll be out of town when this drops. That's why this video exists, and it isn't an AR defense video. I'm so sorry if that's what you were looking for. There will be another one coming someday. I will do them. They will happen. Anyway, don't really have much else. Please hit the fun button down there if you had a good time and want to see more. Otherwise, I'll be back with probably some more Ether Raids content, or if you really like this, maybe more stuff like this, let me know in a comment down below. Anyway, till then, thanks for being here. Till then, goodbye. Till then. Seriously though, it would be really funny if Edelgard lost round 1 again, right? That's the real reason we're all here. It'd be like so funny. It'd be so funny.